Good morning, party people. Welcome back to another episode of YouTube. We've got a special guest here today. We've got my better half, my bigger half.
Pocket boy.
Pocket boy. We've got Lane. Lane is my business partner with Milestone Strength. Obviously, we're going through some fairly uncertain times right now with the coronavirus going around. So today we thought we'd run you through some tips and tricks for at-home leg workouts. We posted one of these on Instagram on both Milestone and myself last week to great review. And we thought, what better way to kick things off in an at-home workout, explaining just like how to get the most out of that. Talk about the techniques, the form cues, what else?
A couple of ways to make it a little more intense if bodyweight stuff is really easy for you. And yeah, just ways to do this properly. Make sure that you're maintaining your gains while you're at home and not in the gym.
Yeah, cool. All right, what do you want to start off with?
Split squats.
Split squats, Bulgarian split squats. So as you can see, we're in Lane's living room right now. All you need is the floor and a couch. Super simple, you can do this anywhere, so that's why we're doing it here.
All right, so you'll see Nate's set up. You know, this couch is about standard height. Don't stress too much about the height of your back foot. Because it's nice and soft, you're going to be able to keep it bent. Now, what we want to do is we want to put most of the weight here through the middle of the foot and the heel pressing along the outside line. We're going to send our knee out over our little toe and drop our back leg as low as we can, driving straight back up. Now, if you want to change the way this hits, you can lean forward a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Or you can stay nice and upright, and any variation in between. But the key points, keep the weight through the heel and the midfoot, driving along the outside, get those hips all the way up into full extension.
One of the cues here, as Lane was saying, is I really focus on bringing my knee out over my little toe here. That's a good cue for me to kind of make sure I'm rotating the weight over the outside of my foot rather than dipping in. We do this when we coach our clients sometimes, actually having a pole in between and making sure every time they're going down, they're making sure their knee goes outside the pole. The way of doing that when you're at home is actually to focus on knee over little toe.
Yep, driving it straight out like that rather than dropping on in.
That's a great idea, doing it that way so they can see from the camera. Very clever.
We're smart.
So for them, we go through normally 4 sets. We're going through 10 to 12 reps each leg, making sure you're getting that correct depth on each one.
That's right. And if you find that easy, slow it down, control your tempo, you know, a 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Slowing that tempo down is going to create a little bit more stress and going to force you to stay in a better position because you can't just bounce around the place.
One of the other benefits here is that you can add weight to this fairly easily. Grab some books, grab a backpack full of stuff. You can either hold it in front rack, put a backpack on your back, or you can hold things by your side there, add that extra weight, create a little bit more tension through there.
Absolutely.
Cool. Exercise number 2.
Bodyweight leg extensions.
These ones suck.
They do. So you'll notice here, Nate keeps his hips locked in, legs nice and straight, abs are on and squeezes the glutes, controls back as far as he can, and comes on up. You'll notice that hip position. See, he didn't bend, didn't change there. It's going to keep the movement nice and consistent all the way through. Now, feet out straight at the back. If you have poor ankle mobility, this may hurt a little bit, but just really try and drive your feet into the ground, and that's going to help you get the most out of this exercise.
If you do have problems with your ankles, this is something I had when I broke my ankle. I actually couldn't do this properly. I went up on my toes. It allowed me to have less flexion in my foot. You can still kind of get down a bit further, just doesn't put as much strain on the ankle. So that's a really good way of varying that movement. One of the other things you notice here, when I'm in that back position, it's really hard to talk like that. I slow down. I don't just kind of go and launch back up there, really hitting that tension in the full stretch. 1, 2, and up.
Very nice.
Again, you're gonna feel this one through the quads so hard. It is one of the more tough movements here. Just because of body weight, don't throw it out as being something that's easy. I don't think I could add much weight to do that to increase the stress, so.
No, that's a pretty brutal one. While we're in the mood of brutal ones, we're going to move into the Cossack Squad.
Yeah. This is a fan favorite on our page. It's something I truly do love doing, but it is very tough here. Now, what are the muscles we're working here when we're doing Cossack?
All of them.
Every muscle.
Now, nearly everything in your lower body is going to be worked at some point in this movement.
It is like a very holistic movement. Is it holistic the right word I want to use there?
It's
all-encompassing?
All-encompassing.
Yeah, right. You're going to feel this particularly through here, which is an area that is quite hard to work in some other movements. I think that's why I love this one so much. Those abductors really do get hit there. Cool.
So we're going to drop into the side. As you'll see on our off foot, we pivot up onto the heel to allow ourselves a little bit more range of motion. Dropping the hip into that ankle and driving up and across, okay? This isn't a forwards, backwards movement. This is a very much side to side movement, okay? You don't want to think about leaning forward or backwards. Nice and upright, dropping the hips into the ankle. And when you drive up, think about driving straight across. Yeah, nice.
One of the things I get asked quite a lot, because we always film this from front on so you can see that, is what the back positioning is. You want to have a nice and neutral back the whole way through. I have seen people do this and they're sort of like really getting down. Keep that chest up as high as you can and nice and neutral back. This is quite hard on the hips as well. If you don't have good hip mobility, practice stretching that out and you'll find it a bit easier.
Yep, perfect.
Next one.
Frog bridge.
Frog bridge. People like this one because it looks funny.
Correct. So we're laying on the ground in a very compromising position. You'll see the soles of his feet are together. What you want to be doing is driving mostly through the heel and the outside of the foot. So think about putting pressure along that skinny line along the outside of each foot, driving straight up. You're going to drive up into position, squeeze your glutes as tight as you can at the top, control down to the floor, and come on up. Good thing about this one is a lot of people feel it really strongly in glute med and glute max, but you can run some pretty high reps with this one, okay? So this is going to allow you to get some volume through the glutes and really feel those muscles.
That contraction at the top is killer. As someone, I'm not particularly glute dominant, so I find this is a really good activator to do something. So it's going to hit, and you really feel it hit through the glutes, as Lane was saying. So
if you want to add weight to this one, anything just on the lower stomach area can increase the resistance on that one.
For sure.
Curtsy lunge.
Again, another fan favorite. I particularly love this one because I do feel it, and you don't need weight for this one. So
stepping back and across, trying to get that back leg as far across as possible, putting the weight through the outside of our foot, right through the midfoot. Again, with this one, think about driving back up and into the middle. Less about forwards and backwards, more about side to side with this one, okay? You're gonna get a deep stretch in the glute at the bottom position of each of these, and then driving our hips back up, block them out, and stepping in.
You really feel this one stretching through here there. Again, slow tempo, rather than sort of just like bouncing through it, which you see some people do. You can see when I do those, I really slow that motion down, feel the stretch, and then contraction right through as I come up from it. It does mean you're going to utilize the outside of the hamstring and quad a lot more there.
It can have a little bit of an effect on your patella tendons, especially if they're weak. But if you feel like you are weak, just think about the same cue we use with our split squat. Keeping that knee in line with the little toe down to the point, and then coming up and across, okay? Nate's pretty flexible through his lower body. He's been really working on that mobility, but for people who are a little bit stiffer, like myself, just slow it down and think about that knee positioning.
Cool. We're gonna move on to something a bit more explosive now. Do some jump squats.
This one's pretty self-explanatory.
Squat and jump.
Don't forget about my fan.
Nice light feet when you're landing here. That's one of the things I'd say. You notice like we're in a above level house. You're not shaking. Catching, really using the quads to catch there. Dropping down, and it's not an up jump, it's in one swift movement. Down, catch, start again there.
Perfect. And we might finish them off with standing calf extension.
Sure.
Now this is a tough one again. If you have like a heavy book, you can use a heavy book to get a little bit of extra depth. But just squeeze the contraction at the top. Do sets of 25 to 30 of these. So you're not going to put a whole bunch of size on your calves training at home, but this is going to maintain the mass that you do have there at the moment.
This one can be fairly tedious too, but I really do feel the top of every motion there, as it really is contracting at the top of the motion, then down. As Lane was saying, put your toes up in a book and you can get that little bit more depth in it. You can use a step if need be. Otherwise, if you really don't have the balance, find something you can lean against there. This is a bit low for me, but I can use the back of the chair to hold on to. Absolutely. It's not going to absorb all the weight, so you're still going to get that stretch through.
For sure.
Easy?
Easy.
Easy. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're going to try and roll through a few of these each week to keep you guys as active as possible while in lockdown. Until then, be safe. We love you. We'll see you next time.